Welcome to the Medical Receptionist Network podcast show. I'm your host, Shivhon Adkins. Join us as we discuss the importance of clerical and administrative roles and their impact on the healthcare industry. Hello, welcome to episode 20 of the Medical Receptionist Network podcast show. I'm your host, Shivhon Adkins. So today we're going to get started with just a reminder. You can visit our website and scroll down to the bottom to check out the Pro Trainings link. Pro Trainings offers different courses, including basic life support, HIPAA. They even have something for COVID now, as well as other programs like self-defense and PALS and all kinds of different things. And most of these are available online. And there's a discount code available for you there on the website. If you like to keep track of your day-to-day, you can also click on the link for our different journals that we have. There's some affiliate discounts for you. You have Best Self as well as the Law of Attraction Planner. They're both great. I think the Best Self journal is really good if you're more so trying to be organized. And the Law of Attraction is definitely, going to give you that positivity that you may need for your everyday life and work environment. And then we also have Zlul, who provides different frames, eyeglass frames, and there is a buy one get one 50% off link on our website. They have great frames. I have purchased 3 new frames last year, and they're all very sturdy. They look beautiful, just how they appeared on the website. So please visit medicalreceptionistnetwork.com, scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, and you'll find those links there. So today, we're going to talk about work-related stress. This has been quite a topic, especially in the last couple of years. It's not that it's a new issue. I think more people have experienced it in the recent times. I'm just going to provide a couple of ways that you may be able to combat that or deal with it. And, starting with speaking to someone who can change things, because work-related stress usually directly relates to work-related issues, policies, lack of communication within your team, maybe lack of direction or instruction. Perhaps the resources that you need are not always available to you when you need them. And those are sometimes easily resolved and sometimes more difficult to resolve. However, always speak to someone who can make a change or who can assist you. Because what we tend to do, especially in a work environment, we'll go ahead and talk to everyone else about all these issues that we're having. We never have enough of this. We're always running out of X, Y, and Z. But no one is bringing that to the attention of the person who can make it better, right? Or who can put a policy in place, or who can put a process in place, or who can make someone else in charge of it so that it doesn't go by the wayside. So you want to speak to the people who, whether it be your supervisor, a lead, a physician, a manager, an administrator, always go to the people who can make changes. Because if you have this conversation with 5 other people before you get to the person who can actually do something, you're even recreating the stress. You're creating more of an anxiety within other people and say, oh yeah, I have that issue too. If you know that there's a problem, you can deal with it directly with the person who can help you with that, whether it's in-person meeting, email, memo, internal messaging system, whatever your job has. The next thing I would say is try to leave work at work. Now, if I'm speaking directly to medical receptionists at this point, and usually once you clock out, you're done, right? And you don't have to worry about different things happening when you're off because there's someone else to take care of, to fill in your place, right? Now, sometimes perhaps you get off at 3, someone else gets off at 4. 4:15, you get a call. Oh, let me tell you about what happened in the last hour that you weren't there. You don't need to know that. You know why? It's just keeping you in a loop that you didn't need to be in. It didn't happen while you were on the clock. It's probably something that is more so gossip related, nothing that you can do anything about. And now this person is bringing you, into an issue or making you aware of something that probably had nothing to do with you. When there are things that have to do with you, your supervisor can bring that up to you, or your, management can discuss that with you when you return to work. Most of the time you shouldn't be getting calls at home unless, there's some direct thing that you dealt with or something that maybe you forgot to do, and to help someone deal with maybe a patient that's in front of them. But that should be rare, because you should be completing your task and completing your messaging and things like that. So there should always be a trail of what you've done, especially when it comes to your patient population, right? So try to leave work at work. And a lot of times we come home, we discuss our day with our spouse or family members or friends, and that's kind of a normal thing to do. However, make sure you kind of put a limit on that. Say once you get home, you know what, I'm going to talk about this for 10 minutes and then I'm going to move on and go enjoy my time with my family or my friends, or have some just peace and quiet to yourself to get your mind clear and everything like that. Because if you just go on and on, it's as if you never left work, you never stopped working. So you try to leave work at work as often as you possibly can. And the next thing I would say, utilize your break time and your time off to improve your own well-being. So some of the typical things we always hear about: meditation, working out, taking walks, enjoying your own hobbies. A lot of times people have hobbies, things they love to do, and they haven't done them in years. Spending even if it's not an hour a day, maybe even an hour a week, doing something that you love, that is independent, individual to you, just to kind of bring your mind back and bring some joy, to your life. And making time for your family and friends, and during this time, a lot of people have reduced how much they actually go out. But even having something at home, having a theme night or a movie night, that way you don't have to worry about getting dolled up and makeup and hair. You can kind of be comfortable and still relaxing, but with the people that you care about and who kind of bring that little structure and peace to your life. And if you're someone who loves to go out, maybe then you take that day to get dressed and get dolled up, and because maybe you're tired of wearing your scrubs, you feel like you've been wearing your scrubs for 6 months in a row and haven't gotten dressed. I know some people have that as well. So do things that you enjoy doing and just try to make the time. You can go out for 2 hours. It doesn't have to be an all-night thing. It doesn't have to be a whole day. Sometimes you have a lot of other responsibilities outside of work that don't allow you that time. But if you can just find those small moments to bring yourself and get centered and reduce that stress that you've been feeling while at work, that will be very helpful. Mental health has been such a great concern for so many people, and we can only do so much with our meditation, our taking our walks, and our deep breathing techniques. If you are having the type of stress or anxiety or depression that may not directly be related to work, but some of it may, be increased by your work environment, you may need to seek professional help. And I recently read, I think it's probably like a meme or something, where it basically said, speaking with your friends is not therapy. It's helpful, but, clinical, psychologists and therapists will help you develop a plan. And that sometimes is what's lacking when we are discussing some of our concerns or issues with our, family and friends. You're usually not walking away with a plan for the next 3 to 6 months of how to improve your situation or improve how you're feeling or improve, your daily emotional state. So that's why you need professional help. Definitely seek that, look into your insurance, see what they have available. There are so many resources now where you don't even have to speak to someone if you're not ready. They have texting applications. They have all kinds of ways to do therapy with telemedicine. Obviously we still have in-person opportunities, and you have people you trust. Maybe you inquire with them, who are you working with? Do you like your therapist? Because it's kind of hard for people to find someone that they can truly connect with. And I'll be honest, I've heard multiple people say that they had to meet with quite a few people before they found someone that they felt was helpful. But you have to start somewhere, right? So you get started, and never be embarrassed or ashamed if you need more than a walk in the park. If your work environment is too stressful and you don't feel like when you have a concern and you're bringing it up that is ever being resolved, and no one seems to care or that they want to make things better, and you don't feel that a teamwork environment, sometimes you have to find other employment. And I hate to say that, but sometimes if you've tried all that you can and you know that the level of stress that you have is due to things that can actually be changed, and no one seems to want to work towards that, together, whether it has to do with the management, the setup for your front desk, how you all are, managing tasks between each other, whatever that is, at some point, if the position is no longer a good fit for you, you may have to seek other employment, whether it's a different type of setting, or a different career choice, because, healthcare is going to have a level of stress that other industries may not come with. So you have to decide whether it's worth it for you, whether it's something you can deal with, whether the time that you're having now is temporary. Maybe your outside life, is a little more stressful at this time, making work harder for you because it's hard to focus and things like that. If it's temporary, it's temporary. But if you feel like, you've been somewhere for a few years and nothing has changed, and you've done your best to try to encourage some change, then, you may have to start to look for something different. And that's just might be in best interest even for your employer. Maybe, you all just don't mesh well and you need to move on, and they need to have someone else in there who is okay with how they're running things. And that's just the bottom line. So we can't change everyone. We can't change every environment that we're in. We can always try. And if people are receptive to that, it's wonderful. And you work as a team to, make things improve and work and run more smoothly. But if that's not the case, never feel stuck if you have options. I know it's, depending on where you live, what your situation is, what your transportation is, what your salary requirements are, and things like that all come into play. But, if it's worth taking a look into the job scene, you should do that as well. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from our Medical Receptionist Handbook to Success today. So on page 27 is an excerpt from our Best Practices chapter. You have a right to communicate with the providers about their patients. You have a right to request a meeting with your manager to discuss your position and responsibilities. Do not wait for people to acknowledge you. You are part of a team. Imagine going weeks without certain parts of your team. Have you ever experienced the sudden absence of a team member? How did it affect your daily operations? Now, that's something to think about. And in the book, we actually have a few lines for you to actually answer that. And these days, many people who have probably never had to experience more than one or two people out at once have had half of their staff out and are working under extreme conditions, especially in a healthcare setting where, you're dealing directly with patients who need your attention and need your assistance. And, for the clinical side, they need that hands-on, and they need the time, and they need people to be able to address their concerns, and they're working half-staffed. And that is really difficult to deal with. And I don't know that there's the solution for that overall, but there are, there's staffing agencies that have temporary people to come in. There are, opportunities to add part-time staff or per diem staff to offices, as well as, different practices and facilities. But everyone, was not prepared for that, especially coming into the pandemic. There are places that have never had to use outside staff or additional, staff. We had to go a couple of days or even a couple of weeks with someone out on surgery or out, on a disability claim. And you just kind of picked up and covered. But now when you have people that have to quarantine for 5 days, and at one point 14 and 10 days, it just became overwhelming, especially if you had 2 to 3 people out at one time and you're still trying to run your practice in the same way. So these are kind of some of the things that we are dealing with, even on a more expansive level right now. And some places are, adapting well, and others are just hanging on. And for that, you have to start thinking outside of the box, and what else can you do? This is more so for the managers, for your staffing, and how can you have some type of backup? Because if not, you and your staff, people are getting very worn out and very overwhelmed by this, and it's very unfortunate. But there are some resources out there, so definitely reach out to fellow managers and people who in your community that are working under the same circumstances. You may be surprised what kind of help you guys can provide to each other. Okay. Our word of the day is stress. What is the meaning of stress? A state of mental tension and worry caused by problems in your life, work, etc. Also, something that causes strong feelings of worry or anxiety, and then physical force or pressure. So what we mostly discussed today was the state of mental tension and worry caused by problems in your life and at work. So you just want to most definitely be careful with how you are experiencing your work at this point. And if you are experiencing great level of stress, make sure you are getting your breaks when possible, and that you take some time to either take that walk around the parking lot, take those couple of deep breaths. It does help calm you down. When you're speaking to a patient who maybe is not the most pleasant and not the most friendly, that you take a deep breath before you respond to them, so that you have, that you're not just reacting, and that you're actually responding to that patient. Even with your other coworkers, make sure that you all are still communicating in a professional way, even under more stressful circumstances. And if you need to meet with your management, like we stated in the beginning, you definitely want to bring up the issues so that they know what you need. Because sometimes if someone's not working at the front desk with you, or they're not, doing the check-in and helping schedule the telemedicine visits and the office visits, they may not realize how maybe one thing that changed over the last year is really affecting your time management at the front, or how many phone calls you're actually getting into the office every day. And yes, we expect our managers to know everything, but sometimes they might be focused on another area, just like you're focused on trying to keep your patients scheduled, and making sure everyone's aware of any wait times and things like that. They might be more focused on other things. So what you can do is just make sure you are letting them know, and hopefully they are taking actions and working with you and the rest of your front desk colleagues to create a better environment for not only the staff, but also your patients coming into the practice. So again, this is our first episode of 2022, episode number 20. Thank you so much for being with me today. Please feel free to visit our website at medicalreceptionistnetwork.com. You can also find the links to the Medical Receptionist Handbook to Success there, as well as the Medical Receptionist Success Training course, which is available on our website. And you can, if you're interested in purchasing for your group, please email me at info@medicalreceptionistnetwork.com. If you're an individual interested in taking the course on your own, you can just go ahead and purchase that and enroll yourself immediately. If you have any questions, please definitely reach out to us, contact us via email or phone, and feel free to read a couple of the articles that are up on the website. Again, my name is Shivhon Adkins. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Medical Receptionist Network podcast show. Don't forget to visit our website, medicalreceptionistnetwork.com, and subscribe to our newsletter. If you're looking for a great resource for medical receptionists, make sure you grab your copy of the Medical Receptionist Handbook to Success, available on Amazon. Lastly, if you have not subscribed to this podcast, please find us on your favorite podcast player and subscribe today. Until next time, keep being amazing.